In the last 1 year, Nio stock is up 600%. But should you consider this as an investment, or is it too late to really hop on board this EV train? Now, I've made a few videos in the past on Nio stock, and if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Second of all, you should know that I am actually a shareholder of Nio. I bought the stock back in 2019, cost basis around $6, slightly under $6 per share, and I've been holding my shares ever since. Now with the stock near $20 per share, I'm up more than 300% on my position. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I will be discussing what I'm personally doing with my position in Nio stock. Now, what I want to discuss in today's video is a few news items around Nio that's come up in like the recent week or so. And most of it is actually positive news, but there was one thing which is negative, which we need to discuss as well. But anyways, guys, if you appreciate me showing you both sides of the story here, not just focusing on the optimistic side or the pessimistic side of any stock really, smash that like button down below and subscribe to join our community, because I will be posting more videos on Nio in the coming weeks and months. Anyways, so this channel is called Positive Investing, so I like to focus on the positive side of things. However, we can't just ignore the negative news and negative things that affect businesses and investments as a result. So let's first start off really with the negative piece of news so we can get that out of the way and then talk about the good things happening with Nio. So Nio announced this week about a proposed offering of 75 million American Depositary Shares, or ADR shares. Essentially what they're doing is diluting existing shareholders like myself, and many companies do this, specifically ones in tougher financial positions overall. This is because it helps them raise capital at optimal times when their stock price has run up so far. So really what we're seeing from Nio here is them pretty much capitalizing on the fact that they've seen a nice run up in recent weeks and months in their stock, and as a result they made a decision to dilute current shareholders and issue more shares. So is this good or bad? Well, for existing shareholders, dilution is never a good thing. However, if you look at the other side of this coin here, I mean, what would you rather have? Would you rather have the company go raise debt, get high amounts of interest on that debt and have to pay that off? Or maybe even face bankruptcy if they can't raise capital? Or would you rather them just dilute shares and, have your shares worth a little bit less? I think the answer is pretty clear here. So while I'm not thrilled about this dilution, it is what it is. We just have to accept it, and it is better than the alternatives out there. I also want to note that I do expect this to continue happening for the coming months. I don't think this is the last time we're going to see dilution of shares. So if you do hold Nio stock or you're considering buying into Nio stock, just keep in mind, because that is, in my opinion, most likely going to happen many more times. Okay, so we got the bad news out of the way. Good riddance. Now let's talk about the positive things, the good news around Nio, and there's quite a few things to discuss here. Starting with upgrades, UBS came out early in the week and raised its target on Nio from a sell to a neutral rating because they see operational improvements this year ahead of expectations, and the balance sheet of Nio is starting to look stronger. They were also optimistic on the fact that Nio plans to sell their cars in Europe in the second half of next year, which is ahead of expectations. So looking at this, I mean, they went to a neutral rating, which means they aren't bearish on the stock anymore. And this kind of gave Nio a jump start this week because investors realized that sentiment is slowly starting to shift, even with previously bearish analysts. Then we had some real bullish news come out here with an analyst from Morgan Stanley with an upgrade to overweight from equal weight. And this analyst raised the target price of Nio from $12 a share to $20.50 a share. The analyst cited that investments from the government not only removes funding risk, but also advances Nio vehicle profitability and cash flow. This all means more upside for Nio, and as a result, more upside in Nio stock. The analyst also calls Nio a growth stock with long-term value unfolding amid recent operational progress. So clearly they see a shift in the company for the better, and this has resulted in them turning very bullish on the stock. Okay, so that's kind of exciting news. Analyst sentiment here is clearly shifting, and that's a good thing. You want to have Wall Street on your side, especially if you're a shareholder of a stock, because whether you like it or not, they have influence on how the stock moves, especially over the short term. And now because of this, I don't really see that we're gonna see share prices of where my cost basis is around $6 per share in Nio stock, because when there's so much positive sentiment, it pushes stock prices much higher. And while there may be pullbacks, they're typically not as drastic as in the past. But guys, keep in mind that just what analysts say isn't like the holy grail here. It's not make it or break it. Just because they say Nio's going to do this doesn't mean they will do it. So just keep that in mind. Take it with a grain of salt and just be smart with your decisions. Don't go out and buy it because, ARK buys it or this analyst buys it or that analyst buys it. Do your own due diligence, because at the end of the day, guess what? It's your money that you're spending. But anyways, let's get to the big piece of news that I want to discuss here today, which has really sent this stock higher in the last couple of days. BaaS, Battery as a Service, is the new subscription offering that Nio is launching, and this is pretty interesting. The concept is that Nio would have an offering where you can buy one of their cars without a battery and then sign up for a battery subscription plan to swap batteries whenever you need a recharge. The advantage of this is that you have a significant amount of savings up front when you go out and purchase the car, because you're not paying for the cost of batteries, which is typically the biggest cost when producing these cars. Now, this could make sense for a lot of people who can't afford Nio cars at current prices, or they just want to get the cost of the car down to as low as possible for purchase. But anyways, moving on, if you purchase one of these cars without a battery, you pay around 980 RMB a month, which is about $140, $150 USD a month. And what the subscription will do is it'll allow you access to the battery swap network, and you'll have the ability to swap in and out of batteries whenever required. This is great on two folds, because not only is the initial cost much cheaper like we just discussed, but you also save a lot of time, because you just hop inside one of these swap stations, swap out your low charge battery for a fully charged one, and you're good to go. If you drive a lot, this $150 cost is pretty cheap, especially when you compare to the cost of gas and the time you save really with not having to deal with charging a car like Tesla is definitely a plus as well, and definitely would appeal to a broader market here. And that's why I think this new battery as a service BaaS offering from Nio could be a very big home run for the stock over the long term. I think this is a very smart approach from Nio, and very smart for them to offer this here, especially at this time. Everyone's trying to, fight for the EV market share. Everyone's trying to bring down costs of EV cars as much as possible. And typically, battery costs are one of the highest costs in these cars. Now, if Nio just says, okay, we're going to sell you the shell essentially, and then you just pay a subscription fee for a battery, that appeals to a lot of people. You don't have to deal with charging. Costs are cheaper, just maintenance is no issue for that. You don't have to deal with degrading battery over time because you're constantly swapping it out. I think it's pretty smart here from Nio. Also, with the subscription approach, it's kind of where the world is shifting, whether we like it or not. Almost every company that is successful out there has some sort of subscription or service offering, and they're playing in cloud, software, or subscription. So I think by Nio really offering this, it opens up a new segment for them to go after. It opens up a new revenue stream, and this will help them in many ways. The first, of course, it'll help improve their balance sheet over time, because now a lot more people are going to be able to afford these cars, so naturally they're going to have more buyers, more sales, all that stuff. But it also helps them with consistent cash flow, because if it's a monthly recurring revenue fee, they're constantly getting a new cash in every single month from their customers, and they can then funnel that cash into R&D or whatever else they want to do to keep the company going and to keep the company growing for the foreseeable future. So all in all, as a shareholder of Nio, I am very happy about this new offering. I want to see how this plays out. It's still kind of early and the concept is there, but let's see in practice really how this plays out. I know there's not too many battery swap networks available right now, so that may be a restricting factor, but we'll see. Give it time, let them build out this infrastructure. The government is behind them as well for this venture, and this could end up being a very, very big thing for Nio. Okay, so now let's talk about the stock and my investment. So like I said, I own shares of Nio, and my cost basis is around $6 per share. Now, do I plan to sell the stock? Absolutely not. When I bought the stock, it was meant as a hedge for Tesla. I've mentioned this many, many times, and we know Tesla is now sitting over $2,000 per share, so that investment's done really well. And to my surprise, Nio has also turned things around, and they're doing really well as well. So I have no plans to sell. The worst is really behind this company, in my opinion, in terms of their financials. And if I really did feel like it was time to sell, it would have been last year when the company faced a real possibility of bankruptcy. Now, if I look at the business, things are looking good. Trends are moving in the right direction. People are excited about it. The government's behind them. Everything's in the right direction for Nio. So why would I sell the stock now? The only reason I would sell is if something changed for the worse, and like I said, metrics are looking good, so no plans to sell from me. However, that being said, guys, Nio is a high-risk stock. Nio should not be a stock, in my opinion, where one puts, 40, 50, 100% of their money in. It's a stock that's very tiny in my portfolio. In fact, it's so small that it's almost negligible, but you know what? It's nice having that exposure. I will say this, because they are a foreign company, they aren't, scrutinized or regulated by the SEC, it does kind of leave me a bit uneasy. So not only is it high risk because of the actual business, but it's also high risk because it's a foreign company. So those two things combined should play a factor in how big Nio will be in your portfolio. But anyways, the sentiment is clearly shifting around this business. Analysts are turning positive. New revenue segments like battery as a service is something that looks exciting for this company. So you know what? I'm just gonna strap in here, enjoy the ride, and we'll see where Nio Stock takes us over the next few years. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on this new battery as a service BaaS offering from the company. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend as well who may be considering or is invested in Nio. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.